Hello, I'm Morgan and I am Tranny Locksmith, and today we are going to be picking a standard front door lock that you see on most people's houses. This is a Kwikset. The way you can tell is it looks cheap and it looks really stupid. Anyway, basic lock. Basic locks, conventionally they have 5 pins in them. And a 5-pin lock is relatively easy to pick. And I prefer HPC picks because, one, they're pretty colors. Red and blue. And what you need is, this is a hook, and this is a rake. And I usually I have a method about me, I usually do the same thing with everyone. But what I do is I take this rake, and I take a tension tool, like this. I like the one that's twisted at the end because it makes it easy for me, I guess. And take your lock, and then you're going to put the tension tool in the bottom of the lock, and you don't want to touch the top pins. And Kwiksets, they turn counterclockwise to unlock. So what you want to do is put very light tension and put that in there like this. And you put very light tension in counterclockwise, and then with the rake you want to start in the back in this position, and you go in and then rake forward and do a little dance, make a little out of and unlock it tonight. There we go. Go like that, and you can rake it like this and then kind of play around with it, and you can feel your pins in there. This is, like I said earlier, this is a 5-pin lock, and for the most part they're pretty easy to open. Sometimes they can be a pain in the neck though, and you just gotta, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So this one I just pulled out of my stock over there, and I'm gonna see if I can pick this for you on camera. I'm sure I won't be able to because I'm trying, and I've got stage fright, but if you speak quietly and concentrate on what you're doing, basically the way they work is there's 5 chambers, 10 pins, 5 bottom pins that are all different shapes, like, well, they're just different lengths, and then 5 top pins that are all the same. Oh, there it goes. I just got it. And what you're doing is you put the tension on it, and these things, they're weak. They're weak locks. They're manufactured in God knows where in China. They're assembled by 4-year-old children, probably in a sweatshop somewhere. And the tolerances of this lock system are very loose, and they allow for, you know, there's a lot of play in there. So what you want to do is you push your top. You push the bottom pins up, and it pushes the top pins up, and then there's a line between the plug, which is the part that turns, and the housing, which is the part that's stationary. And when the top pins clear that line, it kind of kicks a little bit. And then if you do it in sequence, then they'll all kick, and then you unlock the lock. Let's see if we can turn it back. Okay. Now we've turned it back to that position. And we'll try with another method that locksmiths use when they're pressed for time or they're just not very good with picks. It's called a pick gun. And this, if you've ever heard of the Newton's cradle, the Newton's cradle is that thing that you see on a desk in a lawyer's office or something, and it's got all the little ball bearings hanging, and you take one and you let it go, and it bounces through all the other ones, and the ones on the ends just bounce back and forth. Same principle. You're bouncing your bottom pins to jump the top pins out of the way, and it's got a variable tension on the spring so you can adjust how hard it actually bounces them. And I go all the way to low, which is all the way up, and there's a little L there you can kind of see. And then what I usually do is put 4 or 5 spins. 1, 2, 3. 3 feels pretty good, so we're going with 4. You can kind of feel it. It doesn't do anything if there's pressure pushing up. The only time that you're going to actually get this thing to work is if there's pressure like this. So if these are your pins, you want to be able to contact all of the pins, and of course they'll be at the same, not like my fingers, but, and then you want to kind of push up on it a little bit, and then that's what you want to feel. So usually what I do, I put this into the lock, and then I rake back to feel the pins, and I also can count the pins too, because sometimes there's 6-pin locks and they're a little bit harder. So same way with the tension tool. Put it in the bottom of the keyway. Make sure you're not blocking the top part of the keyway where the pick or the pick gun goes. You put your very light tension on the tension tool in a counterclockwise, and then you want to put this in, and you want to rake it back. And you can kind of count. There's 5 pins in there, and I can feel each and every one of them as they spring back into place. So I'm going to put this in there, and I'm going to kind of put pressure on the back pin, and then let this kind of guide up, so I know I've got contact on all my pins, and then just click. There it goes. See? And as you can see, that's sometimes it's a lot quicker to use the pick gun. But I don't like to start with a pick gun, just because it's more entertaining for my customers, for this little girl to walk up with picks like in the movies and show up and bend down and pick a lock. In just a couple seconds, people usually tip me very well, which I love. So that is basically how you pick a standard lock, which you will see on most everybody's house, especially in this crap town. Thank you.